Please tell us about yourself. What are your interests and hobbies? My name is Francis Eni. I had my basic and senior higher education in Central Region of Ghana. After that, I continued to the University of Education, Winneba, where I had my first degree in mathematics education. I'm always interested in helping my students achieve as much as they can in their academic week. I enjoy watching football, I play football, and I also enjoy reading a lot. Are you involved in extracurricular activities that you could coach or supervise? As a teacher, I am part of my school's sports committee, and we are always tasked with preparing our students for sporting activities such as football and athletics. I'm also part of the school's quiz team. We prepare our students for the National Science and Maths quiz in my country. Why did you decide to become a teacher for the subject for which you are applying? During my early stages in school, I was good in mathematics, but I realized most of my colleagues struggled with mathematics. So when I had the interest of becoming a teacher, I wanted to teach mathematics so that I will be able to help my students learn better the subject of mathematics. Are you currently employed as a teacher? Yes, I'm currently employed as a mathematics teacher in a senior high school in my country. How many hours per day do you teach, and how many days per week? On the average, I teach 4 hours a day and 5 days in the week. Describe your teaching experience. What subjects have you taught, and at what grade level? I've taught as a teacher in the senior high school. That is, I've taught mathematics, both core mathematics and elective mathematics. Describe other work experiences you have had besides teaching. During my university education, whenever I was on long vacation, I used to work with the account section of one of the hospitals in our locality, Dominasi SDA Clinic. I was the one who was working on their NHIS claims, that is the National Health Insurance claims for the hospital. Have you ever worked in the United States? If so, when, where, and why? I have not worked in the United States before. What do you hope to be doing professionally 5 years from now? 5 years from now, I expect to still be in the teaching profession, but to be teaching at a higher level, preferably a university or a college. If I were to talk to several of your colleagues, how would they describe your personality? Well, they would say I am hardworking, a team player, and also act professionally. What would your students say about you? My students would say I am a teacher who always tries everything possible within his means to help his students to understand any concept he wants them to grasp in the classroom. And they will also describe me as a hard-working teacher. How do you prepare to teach your lessons? First of all, I make sure I have my content, I research into the concepts, I make sure I know what methods I'm going to use to teach whatever concept I'm going to teach, and also prepare with the best TLM I can use to help my students understand the concept I'm going to teach. What would you What would your lesson plans include? My lesson plans would include the details of the lesson, the contents, my TLMs, and then the methodology I'm going to use to teach the lesson. Think about a class that you have taught recently. Talk about 2 of the teaching strategies or methods that you used. For the class I taught recently, I employed the teacher-centered approach as well as the student-centered approach. I believe to be able to achieve your objectives as a teacher, you always need to use the right approach at the right time. What methods do you use to grade or evaluate your students' progress? To evaluate my student progress or to know how my students are doing on a concept that I'm teaching, I use tests. I also use project work. I use assignments. And sometimes I engage my students orally to know how better they understand the concept I taught in class. If you use technology in your teaching, describe how you use it. In our country, using technology is difficult, but what we mostly are able to do is to use the computer-assisted type of teaching. That is, occasionally, if you have access to a projector, you can project some concepts for students to learn from. And then we also are able to use some software such as GeoGebra to explain concepts in class. Specifically discuss your experience using a smart board and ways that you incorporate it into your lessons. I have not had the opportunity to use a smart board, but I attended a workshop that we were taught how to use a smart board. Unfortunately, my school does not have a smart board, but with the knowledge I have from the workshop that I attended, if I ever came across a smart board, I can learn and be able to use it to teach my students. If you have students who are noisy or non-attentive, share with us 2 ways you get them to be quiet and concentrate. What I'll do to get my students who are not attentive in class to concentrate is to use a lot of manipulatives to get the students involved in the teaching and learning process. If students are involved and are part and parcel of the teaching process, it will be difficult for them to talk or be attentive in class. I will also try always to keep students who don't pay attention in class busy by sometimes even designating them to help with activities in the classroom, such as coming to the board to explain concepts that they understand or helping their colleagues to learn. Describe the most difficult problem you have had to deal with as a teacher and how did you solve this problem? After my national service, since I was in the house and was not doing anything without employment by then, I was engaged in my former school as a mathematics teacher, and I was given a visual art class to teach them elective maths from the beginning. It was the first time they were being introduced to relative maths, which is quite challenging compared to core mathematics. So these students were not interested in the subject since they had a misconception that relative mathematics is difficult. So as a teacher, I had to use all means to help them gain interest in learning the subject. One of the things I did was I always tried to go as low to the lowest level whenever I'm taking them through a concept to help them learn from what they know to what they do not know, which gradually help the students to get some confidence and start gaining interest in the subjects. It helped them to learn the subjects better. Give one example to show that you are a flexible person and that you can make changes to your teaching and methods if that is necessary. Yes, that is sometimes in class when I realize my students are finding it difficult learning a certain concept, I handpick students in my class who are good and have proven during the lesson that they understand the concept I'm teaching to help their colleagues. Sometimes I even make them come to the board to teach the concepts, knowing very well that some students learn better from their peers. And also, whenever a student is able to introduce a different approach to a concept in class, I allow him or her to go ahead with it. And after that, make my researches to ensure the concept is accepted. If it's accepted, I encourage my students to use it for their studies. Is there anything you would like to add about your qualifications that you may not be aware of? When I was uploading my particulars, I uploaded a transcript from my info studies, that's the coursework. I want to add that I'm not yet done with the info work, I'm still on my research work. So if you saw anything of that nature, that is the reason why I uploaded it as part of my documents. Have you spoken to your family about going to the United States to teach? Is there anything such as a family member that might object to your leaving home? Are you aware that your family members may not join you here until approximately 4 to 6 weeks after your arrival? I've spoken to my family and everybody is happy about the prospect of me being able to travel to teach in the United States. And I'm also aware that they wouldn't be able to join me until after 4 to 6 weeks after I have left my country. Do you understand and accept that FACES is a 3-year program, and after 3 years you must return to your home country? Do you agree to this? Yes, I understand and agree to that. Thank you.